should contain these three things. It should be exciting, engaging, and refreshing. But when I say it's time to study art fundamentals or anatomy, what pops into your head? Is it like the basic grayscale cubes, spheres and cylinders, pages of arms and legs rotating in space, or just straight up dread? There's a lot more than one way to acquire crazy art skills, and the way you may have been studying might not have been the best one for you. So let's get into how to build all of that and more for yourself by talking about how school broke me. So I didn't really enjoy school like at all because
I'm not self-taught. I went to a school. Veal. Okay.
from my experience, it didn't just teach me silly information, it taught me a relationship with learning, one that I was just not compatible with. And when I say school, I don't mean art school, I mean like basic high school or whatever, because I never went to art school. And I feel like for a lot of artists, especially us self-taughters, we unknowingly import bad relationships into our practice, which then turns learning into an obligation, obligation into suffering, and then suffering into legitimacy. So of course we then repeat it. And each time we do so, we reinforce that learning to draw sucks and is hard, and it can only be done one way, which sucks.
Yeah, a lot of people get stuck. A lot of people get stuck with guidelines as rules. Like the Loomis theory, you don't really need it. You don't really need any of these. You can draw from eye. You can remember how everything is. It's just things help out a lot. Things just help out a lot. The only rule is just repetition. Just learn something that makes sense to you, and then just get better at it, and then just polish it. But you can follow any of the rules. The fundamentals are there just to help out a lot, but the fundamentals are there so you can learn it, so you can break it, to teach you that there are no rules. There's rules to learning the basics, but then you can break them.
And is hard no matter what. And this sort of belief and mindset has predictable failure points. Viewing learning with homework like energy gives you avoidance, and avoidance leads to inconsistency, and inconsistency is the #1 thing that halts growth. And this took me a very long time to like fully grasp, and I only speak for myself here, but anything that remotely feels like school makes me want to just shit my pants immediately. Even if it's something I love doing, if it's rephrased as an assignment, I will feel very angry about it. And I don't think anybody genuinely has a positive reaction to the words home and work. And since learning to draw is all about learning, drawing, and the mindset you put forward when doing these things on loop, starting every session with dread is not only a terrible strategy, but it can diminish your consistency, curiosity, long-term growth, and eventually your identity as an artist. And trust me, you do not want to lose that one. Am I just going to draw Rouge the Bat now forever? What's going on? Staying in this sort of zone is how you risk becoming one of those unhealthy
I had a client. I had to draw Rouge. And he did want me to draw it exactly how you just saw that drawing.
the artist too from my last video without even necessarily realizing it. But what can we do to turn fundamental study into something fun without all dumb mental? Part 1 of making
Alright, double check.
the artist too from my last video.
I had a client. I had to draw Rouge. And he did want me to draw it exactly how you just saw that drawing.
The artist too from my last video without even necessarily realizing. Making consistency a lot easier, realizing that fun does not necessarily equal easy. When you first study a body part you aren't used to or draw a face in a new angle, you may quickly find yourself getting humbled fast. And this is an essential part of growth, and one that is important to bring attention to, since being cringe at something isn't nearly as fun as being awesome at something. But that's actually really good, because when you're learning a new skill, fun shouldn't be prioritized through how comfortable something is, but rather how engaging it is. And that's kind of the key here, is to make your practice session as engaging as possible. I found this out the hard way by putting in a whole 8-hour anatomy session with a hard round brush only, and not allowing a loose sketch first because I figured I needed practice with my line confidence too, and since it was just like a self-imposed requirement for this assignment. Anyway, even just thinking back on that now, I want to just straight up throw up. Every single minute of studying felt so unbearable, and it took deafening amounts of music and caffeine just to get through it all. But I soldiered on, and by the end I just felt tireder and stupider, and then frustrated because all the work I had done in those 8 hours was just straight nutsack. This structure did not allow room for viewing the results of all this work as something other than self-deprecating, and all it did for me was just confirm the belief that I need a whole lot more of this kind of studying because I was just so bad at it. But the most fun I've had with art and learning anything really is when I'm fully engaged and challenged in some way that is beneficial to how I intuitively do things. 8-hour anatomy sessions with a goddamn Sharpie is not conducive to how I draw naturally, nor is it something I would.
Let's watch some shorts. Because I'm getting impatient. I want to draw.
How to draw an anime head from a low angle, Masaka Makoto's version. Let's go. First, draw a circle. Well, we have to paint it first because this is an
You may have heard that hair is just all about shape design, but what does that actually mean? Let's start with a basic ribbon. Pretty boring, right? So let's add some interest by either cutting the ribbon or adding strands to it. But if I just cut it up like this, it doesn't look very good, right? So how can I make it look better? I like to think of good design as adding as much variation as possible. So I can try changing the widths of the strands. I can also vary up the lengths. I can change the angle. Some people may be wondering how they're supposed to know how much to vary things. So there's this basic design principle I like to keep in mind when drawing hair. There's a specific ratio that generally looks pleasing. And I've heard that this ratio is approximately at a 70-30 ratio. And the cool thing I found about this is that you can apply this principle, this ratio, recursively. If splitting the hair like this doesn't look detailed enough, I can go in and split it up even further. You may have heard that.
Okay, I know this sounds weird, but the chimp method is the easiest way to draw and animate expressions. But hear me out. I'm not trying to debate whether or not we've evolved from chimps, alright? It just so happens to look like them when you put everything together. See, it's all based on the three most expressive parts of the human face: the eyebrows, the eyes, and the mouth. However, when it comes to movement, the eyebrows and the mouth dominate above all else. So basically, the chimp method is just the mask method, but with a stretchy oval shape attached to the bottom to represent the mouth. So, if your expressions are looking flat, try playing with these shapes to push things further. And if you want to see how to apply the chimp method on any face, step by step, make sure to follow and leave a comment. Okay, I know.
Okay, I actually want to watch that. Okay. What's his name? Ergo Josh. Ergo Josh. chimp. How old is this?
Okay, I know this sounds weird.
September 1st. Okay. Nah. There we go, Josh.
The human face is
Ugh.
quite the marvel. Our bodies are vastly complex, with dozens of systems and several tens of trillions of cells and bacteria all working together. Our faces are like the display monitors of the computer, communicating all of our thoughts and desires to the world. But where humans differ from machines is with emotion. Your eyes alone are enough to describe every single emotion out there. As artists, we usually want our audience to feel something from what we create. And to do that with characters, it usually comes back to our faces and the expressions we make. Even animals that have never seen humans before instinctively know to look at our eyes. Personally, I've always loved drawing faces, but lately I feel like I've hit a wall with my art.
Okay, I want to do that. Add a little bit of blue. So. Boom. Boom. Okay, so the ears go right there. Boom. Boom. Okay, let's understand this a little bit more. So 1, 2, 3 with the square in the center. Alright, so let's do that again. So boom, boom, and then we'll do a triangle right there. I have the triangle meet up. Triangle meet up. Oh, okay. And then you can add in right there. Alright, so I'm going to practice that over here. So I'm going to go right here. Right here. Right there. And then we'll do there. don't fully understand this, but I will if I keep doing it. Boom. So the corner right there, and the corner right there. We got remember, this is all study. I did not make this. I'm not trying to recreate it in a commercial way. I'm just drawing this because this is the best way for me to learn right now. So, nose bridge. Wow, it just automatically does it. And then goes right here, goes right here. Wow. Boom, boom. Everything should connect. Boom. Everything should connect. Wow. And then also right there. Wow. Wow. Ooh. I like that method. Oh my god, that's clean. That is clean. Such a clean method. Whoa. Ooh. Such a clean method. Wow. Just minor. You can fix it with minor tweaks. Wow. I like that. Ooh, that works. Yeah, because let's go over it. So, anchor points, triangle. Boom. For the face. Boom. Edges goes right there. Nice, nice. Boom. Crosses right there. Goes right there. Yeah. Everything just lines up. Ooh, that works. But you have to kind of understand it a little bit. I'm gonna have to do this a couple more times to get like. This is a learn it by science, and then it becomes by feel. Okay. Ooh, that works. That works. Ooh. That works so good.
I don't know if any of you relate to this, but I've never really been able to commit to a grand project that I spend years working on, and I felt pretty bad about that. It's always just been one study here or another fan art there. However, this time I wanted to limit myself to a very clear focus, so I decided to go all in on facial animation. There's really nothing like the satisfaction of drawing a face that looks like it's alive. But I wanted to dive deeper to explore the emotional side of us and how we communicate that. How do you make someone truly connect to something that's only existing in 2D? You may think that 3D is the answer, but even then, translation is necessary because your audience is still only going to experience what you create on a 2D screen. That's why I got really excited when I found a course called Mastering Facial Animation and Emotional Storytelling by Alexis Wanneroy. Alexis is a character animator who worked on a ton of great films and shows, including one of my favorites, Arcane. This course is available on Colosso, which is an excellent online learning platform for a variety of creative topics, and they were kind enough to share the course with me along with a discount code for you that covers the entire website.
Yeah.
The course is technically focused on using Maya and the computer-generated animation workflow therein. But what blew me away was how transferable the core lessons in this course are. So whether you're working in 3D or
Ooh. Ooh.
or 2D or just sketching out frames in Procreate, the fundamentals of emotional animation stay the same. In this video, I want to cover 3 main topics from the course: the mechanics of emotional storytelling, using reference to capture life, and balancing stylization versus realism. With each topic, we'll also look at how K-pop Demon Hunters employs these lessons as well. If you haven't heard of it already, it's a recent Netflix animation packed with stylized facial expressions and crazy exaggeration. Now, I want to be clear. I'm aware that K-pop Demon Hunters obviously originates from Korea as well, but it is not affiliated with Colosso or the course or Alexis in any way. What it does do, though, is make a perfect example to see just how professional animators breathe life and emotion into their characters. If you've ever struggled to make your characters feel something real or wondered how to push expression without losing believability, I think this is going to help you a lot. So the course itself is pretty in-depth with over 10 hours of content spread out over 16 videos. The section I really want to focus on is the chapter on emotions. He narrows it down to 7 core emotional categories: fear, sadness, disgust, surprise, anger, contentment, and happiness. What I love most is how specific he gets, not just on what the face is doing in an emotion, but what Alright, look, the animation industry is in shambles right now. AI is on the rise, animators aren't being paid, and projects are getting delayed. But I'm not letting that stop me from enjoying animation. I still think it's cool. I want to bring my art to life, even if it's just for myself. So I thought, why not learn from an established indie animator using tools that are easy to access that you probably have access to as well, like my iPad Pro and Procreate. So for this video, I'm going to show you how I created this animation while learning the ropes from indie animator Hafsa in her course, The Complete Guide to 2D Indie Animation Production on Colosso. Colosso sponsored this video and gave me access to the course, but as always, I try to pick the best, most valuable courses for my growth and then provide you with an objective overview. The goal for me was to bring a small performance-focused shot to life with movement and emotion. A single character saying a few words with believable head movement and lip sync. By the end of this video, you'll know which parts of the course actually helped me, what it realistically offers you if you're on iPad, and whether or not it's worth your time if you want to start animating your own characters. So, context. You probably know me more for my illustration, anatomy, and educational portrait drawing content. Although I'm super into animation lately, I'm obviously not at the stage right now where I'm trying to make short films or run a studio pipeline. That's why Hafsa's course caught my eye. She's an amazing 2D indie animator who builds her animation workflow around iPad apps, and that felt really approachable to me. Even though she covers the entire pipeline in this course, she strongly recommends choosing your goals wisely and conservatively. This is to avoid burnout and over-emotional decision-making early in the project. So in our case, I picked a funny clip from one of my favorite content creators, Jeannie Weenie, as a reference and set 3 clear project-level goals. I would focus on dynamic movement, impactful expressions, and engaging lip sync.
I actually want to watch
So no matter how much I eventually
my Korean mom before I moved out. Okay, this is good enough just to do the light study. Remember, I'm not trying to recreate this fully. I'm just trying to like understand the lighting. So, and we're gonna do it in my style. So I want to do something real quick. I'm using G-Pen. Is G-Pen better? Oh, okay, yeah. And now let's go up to primer. Needs to be more thick. Yeah, it loses its texture. Yeah. I'm starting to realize I really like texture. Yeah, his line is like too gray. There's too much gray in it. Too much pencil. I need that nice medium, and I do like this. Ah, boy, I'm so used to G-Pen. Yeah, I think the best thing I can do. Yeah. No, I'm just not used to it. Too much. Okay. better clean up your room. Excuse me. You better clean up your room. ass head. Ugh. Hi. Sorry. It's okay. Oh. It's okay. You want a treat? Let me call it a day. Oh, are you still in the voice room? Oh, I just saw your message. Hi, are you still in? Let me check. Yeah. Yeah, Marion like helps out a lot. Oh, well, hello, how's it going? Yeah, Marion helps out a lot. Oh, you're also an artist? Yeah, right now I'm just practicing new techniques, and then trying to do a light study. So what I'm actually doing is just like practicing some new face techniques and everything, trying to get stuff down. And then over here, I traced over the body after I did this just to see how accurate I was. Here, let me show you. Where is it? No, that's fine. Oh, it's up here. Yeah, here's the trace version that I just did. Because I copy pasted just to see how accurate I was, and because one thing I like to do is use grids as measurements, not an actual like transfer technique, but it just helps me focus. And that's the thing, like I'll jump around, like so I'll jump around and everything, but it will also help me focus with heads. So if this head is one square long and stuff like that, then I can make sure that the arms and everything are amongst the measurements. It's no different from No different from like using perspective lines. Yeah, because usually what I would do is do a perspective line, like right here, right there, and then draw within that. Kinda. What I actually do, because it's a bit of a transfer technique. You actually use the grids and everything to look at this and where the composition's at. So I actually use the grids to place where everything's at, just to keep everything in line. So over here, I'm gonna pick the color blue. No. So the grids and everything helps me determine where everything's gonna be at. So over here, because I like to do the 3-point perspective. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. So you see the knee is kind of like right there. So what I use the grids for is to like kind of like draw a line. Like I'll put the line right here, put the line right here, and then I will make sure that everything that the body does stays in this region. So this way I don't draw a head too big, don't do anything, so I just compartmentalize. So that's what I use the grids for. But it does help out with heads and everything sometimes. Like, this was just a happy coincidence. But I just use them for right here, right here. So it's just like, oh, okay, look right here. This line right here, this line right here stays right here and stuff like that. Because I'll show you some stuff that I used. I use this for. Here. Decent. Do I have it? Those are my references. Here's a finished piece that I did. Here, this is mine. I use grids for this. So when I use the grids and stuff like that, I had cloud and everything. So I had grids. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, so right here, with the layers over here and stuff, so I would use grids here. Let me go to view, grid. So this is what I would do for the grids, just to make sure everything is in line. So I would have the grid right here to right here, and then this is where I would have Cloud be at. So his sword would be right here, but then this grid to this grid. If you see it, this is the top of his head, and then where his foot's at. So this is what I would do, use grids to compartmentalize where everything's gonna be at. So when I draw a Cloud, I wouldn't draw a Cloud outside of this. And then same thing for here, same thing for here. I had references, I had a bunch of stuff, I photo bashed this image. Also the stream is a little hard to hear. I think the stream's master volume is super low, and then your audio is quieter than the music. Not sure if that's something you can miss, but not. Yeah, I don't have very many people come in, so here we go. Stop by. How's that? How's that doing? I think I'm also just far away too. Yeah, so I would just use grids for that. Like I use grids to compartmentalize where I'm going to draw the characters. And then I block everything. I take my time on all this stuff. I'm a slow artist. Here. Look at the background. Oh, it's a little better? Okay. Let me turn on. The mic volume is all the way up. Okay. So that's just what I use the grids for. I just use the grids for measurement. I use the grids for measurement. So as you can see, his head's not the size, but when I drew a bunch of stuff and everything, draw all this stuff, compartmentalized, and then I use the grid for like 3-point, and then draw stuff and everything, and then I make sure like I stay focused. And then the grids also help me stay in color in one area at a time. So that's what I use the grids for, just to focus on one area at a time when I'm doing detail, and then also to make sure that everything stays in one area right over here. So that's when I use the big pieces and stuff. Yeah, but for this and everything, I'm wanting to get better at coloring. So I'm just trying to like get this into the style I like, which oh, gotcha. The color thing never occurred to me, but yeah, I can imagine that helps a lot. Yeah. The a lot of people tell you not to do it because of like that people use grids to trace, basically. Like, here's an image, I'm going to use the grids to specifically copy that. But for me, I kind of have like ADHD, and so I want to jump around. So I actually want to jump around everywhere and focus on one thing. While this forces me to work on one part at a time. This works really well if you Photoshop a reference yourself, like use Photo Bash. So for that cloud drawing, I actually photoshopped Cloud from the video game and the whispers and put them in the positions I want in the landscape I want. And then I use some filters to color some stuff, mess around with it, and then I hand painted it myself to draw stuff, and then I drew everything myself. So because I had a reference. That's the thing, like I use a lot of references. And then for drawing and everything, I always have references all around. So, like this is my wall of references of what I want to focus on. So these are the styles I love, and so I try to focus on that. Try to make everything look similar to that. And then again, also, what I actually did, I never went straight to. I never went straight to line art. So I used a soft brush, and then I blocked everything out. I blocked it, and then I kind of shaded it in. And as you can see, I used the box format for the chest, the box format for this, and then placed everything and stuff. So I build and build and build. I do big layers and stuff like that. I block everything out, shade it, mess around with it, place it. You can see where I have the line right here. The line right here, and I had another line right here where the heel was going to go, so that I have everything going and stuff like that. Be like, okay, that's where I'm going to stop. This is where I'm going to stop, and then I keep everything focused. And then I added lines over it. And that's the trace I did of the reference, just to see how close I got, because this is a study, so I'm not trying to actually recreate it 100%. And then we got to this. But my goal is not like a 100% recreation. I'm just trying to get this good enough so that I can start shading it, because where donde está la biblioteca? Right here. So let me close that. So that's what I'm doing here. Yeah, thank you. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just trying to get it close enough to look like this. So I'm going to draw everything to make it similar. And then my goal is the value. So what I want to do is make everything gray, and then understand why they made these decisions. Understand, do this. So that's my goal. That's my goal. I do not want to make a 100% recreation. And that's what I'm doing with all of these. Like, then after this, I'm going to go to this, study this, make this black and white, and then do the same thing. Because I'm trying to understand composition, and I'm trying to understand values more. And then understand why they're trying to do everything. So I'm going to each one, understanding why they made a decision with the light right here, how all this works. Then go to like Final Fantasy, like make this black and white, see how this works in the light. Do that, do all that. Yeah. So tell me about yourself. What type of art do you do? What do you like to color? Oh, Parker, what's up? Dude, what's up? Yeah, I was just drawing and stuff like that. I'm so glad that you showed up. Hmm. I'm doing a lot of pen and paper stuff. What's up? I'm doing a lot of pen and paper stuff right now, although I'm doing some digital stuff while watching the stream. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, I'm almost at the end and everything. Like, I was at. You actually caught me when I was about to, like, log off. But, yeah, doing some pen and paper stuff is, like, really good. It's really, really good. I'm about to, like, log off, but let me give you a video that's actually really, really good. Here, we'll go on my history. Oh, you should watch the PewDiePie art progress. Like, no, not this one, but the PewDiePie video where he goes to Attack on Titan. You're not Yep, that's. Here. Yeah, this guy. Yeah. Artwad. He's a great guy to like to understand form. This is perfect. Design from imagination hack and stuff like here. Learn drawing feet. Drawing feet. Learn how to draw fantasy armor. But drawing from imagination hack. We'll do this one. Yeah, because what I just explained to you and stuff like that. Actually, drawing hands explained here. This one too. His videos are solid. Also, I think his Instagram keeps having posts and ads trying to sell me on the course. Yeah. He probably does have ads and stuff like that. But one of the things that he did. So this is. I'm gonna put this away. Like put this away. So that one of the things is that like I was practicing drawing feet the other day. So using this, I just been practicing on the fundamentals nonstop. So this is all I've been doing, is just practicing fundamentals. I was drawing them like so. Up here, I learned what he said was do the form, connect the form, draw the form, and then everything about it was just like add everything together, add everything together. I had references the entire time, looking at all this stuff, looking at all this stuff, drawing all that, drawing that. And if you look at the form, like where everything's at, it's this. It's this right here. So this is all that I've been doing. Nothing big, just very simple. Just trying to get stuff like that done. Yeah. But I'll be back tomorrow to work on stuff. But I'm so glad you're doing good. Yeah, okay. What I want you to do, like in a couple of hours or tomorrow, dude, send me what you drew today. Send me what you drew today. I want to look at it. I want to see it. Like I straight up want to see what you've been working on. Okay? By the way, there is a delay, so it might take me a second to see your stuff. But we'll do. I have to check out some more of his videos. I'm going to log off. If you have time tomorrow, I'll totally tune in. Heck yeah! I'll talk to you later, man. Dude, I'm so glad that you dropped by and like we were able to talk. Oh, I'm excited. Thank you so much, man. I'm gonna get going though. See,